right, good evening, everyone. It's from Mr. Miller. It's a gift. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our evening meeting of the City Commission. We're going to go ahead and get started. As we get started, and I call this meeting to order, I'm going to ask you to stand and join me for a moment of silence before I turn to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, next we'll have a roll call.
Commissioner Kelly,
Present.
Commissioner Jones,
Here.
Commissioner Lanier,
Present.
Commissioner O'Connor,
Present.
Commissioner Ruppert,
Here.
Commissioner Moody,
Present.
Mayor Bliss.
Yes. All right, next that will take us to our first opportunity for public comment, and I want to just walk through the agenda in case this is your first time joining us tonight. So if you have the agenda in front of you, you can also see it up on the screen. There are a couple opportunities for public comment. So the very first time at the beginning of the meeting, these are public comments related to anything that we're actually voting on today. So earlier today, the City Commission, we had a number of what we call standing committee meetings, and during those meetings, we voted on a number of items, and you'll see a whole list of them in your agenda. So if you're here tonight to talk about something that we're voting on, I'm going to open up that period of public comment in just a minute. We ask that you say your name, that you share with us the city that you live in, and then tell us what item that you're referring to. We have a couple of rules here in this space, and for public comment, we have a rule. We'll give you up to 3 minutes to speak. Then we have a scheduled public hearing a little bit later on in the agenda, and this is a public hearing related to a brownfield amendment for 16 tax foreclosed properties. So if you're here tonight to speak about that, I'm going to ask you just to hold off until I open up that public hearing, and then I'll open it up and you can speak. And then at the end of the meeting is when you can come up and talk about anything else. Again, same rules apply. We ask that you share your name, the city that you live in, and we'll give you up to 3 minutes. There's a timer that you can see right up here, and so you can keep an eye on how much time you have. So with that, I'll open up the first opportunity for public comment. And again, these are items that we're voting on tonight. So if you want to come on up, we ask that you come right up here to the microphone, that you write down your name over on that clipboard over there that's on that table, just so that we can make sure we get your name spelled right in the minutes. And I'll open that period up right now. So if you're here to speak on something that we're actually voting on tonight, go ahead and come on forward. Okay, come on up, Mr. Miller. Welcome.
A very pleasant good evening, fellow veterans and citizens of Grand Rapids. This is the House of the People. Watchdog Miller reporting. Welcome to Simon Legree Square, where the Snooty Urban League held a grand gala right across the street in the Grand Convention Hall, where our buses don't go. Specifically, Limousine Joe's Jim Crow 4 Eastern, and Uncle Tom 2 Franklin. His Nunbasher, he votes 46th precinct, his Nunbasher 14. So it all ties together. 4 plus 2 plus 14 equals $20. My last reward for the best light bulb jokes, which run $450, I got away with $25 a reward for the best light bulb. Here I'm bringing it down to $20. 4 plus 2 plus 14. For the $20 reward to the citizen who comes up with the best Limousine Joe jokes. We now have 4 commissioners with diversity of our ministerial backgrounds, but our buses don't come here. And maybe I'll cover that in the second portion of the meeting, but that's number 13, 1, 14, and 5, public participation. Who gets to come up here like me? It's a hassle just getting over here. On 812, the city remains 1 and 2 badly over bonded. 9A, it's the whole ball game. You're not naming anybody who you're going to be on 9A, who you're going to be appointing to these very key commissions and boards around town. It's reminiscent of your Secret 36 scandal some years back. Never found out until even a Saturday paper of who the heck you're appointing. It's the whole ball game, you know. And 4 of you have ministerial backgrounds. One is a wife, a first lady, a very prominent pastor here. So why are you sending our entire bus system down to faggot-infested Founders? Next, 9B2, GRPD. You're down about 63 officers. The cop paycheck vote, that block is under 100 people. You go Johnny Brand, Johnny's waitresses, and so on. But 85% of your cops are too snooty to live in Grand Rapids. Let's not confuse the cop paycheck vote with the anti-crime vote, which is vast and broad. People want better crime. The anti-crime vote. So the lower you, generally on a basic, the lower you pay the cops, the more the cops are on. We're down 63 cops. 9C8, remain vigorously opposed to Walker View, Brownfield, Boondoggle. Why are you helping them out in far northern Walker with about a 1 mile square project? Is our Brownfield, when our bus...
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Your time's up. Thank you.
Thank you ever so much.
Thank you. Anyone else who wishes to be heard on items that we're voting on tonight? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to close that opportunity for public comment, and that will take us to our next item, which is approval of our minutes from our last meeting. Commissioners, can I get a motion for that?
So moved.
Support?
All right, all those, any comments, changes? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It carries. Next, we'll take us to petitions and communications.
The first one is a communication received from Kathy Wiegers regarding WMCAT mediation.
That is received and filed.
Communication received from Don Lee regarding the passage of Proposal 1 and next steps.
That is received and filed.
Communication received from Carmine Bosco expressing opposition to a rate increase for water and sewer service.
That is received and filed.
And communication received from Cynthia Ayers, the Neighborhood Association Collaborative, including photos, sign-in sheets, and other documents.
And that is also received and filed. And Commissioners, just to note that that was emailed to all of us, and it's a lengthy document. Next, that will take us to reports of city officers.
First one is Comptroller's Report for the period of November 1, 2018 through November 14, 2018 in the amount of $15,498,532.75.
That's received and filed.
And the Treasurer's Report for the period of November 3, 2018 through November 12, 2018.
And that is also received and filed. All right, next that will take us to our consent agenda. So our consent agenda are items that we voted on earlier today in one of our meetings where there was a unanimous vote. So those are put on the consent agenda, and then with one voice vote tonight, we'll adopt those items. So can I get a motion for the consent agenda?
So moved.
Support?
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It carries. All right, next that will take us to ordinances to be adopted, and we have one ordinance before us tonight.
Yeah, an ordinance amending Section 1 of the Budget Ordinance 2018-35 for fiscal year 2019, Amendment Number 9.
All right, can I get a motion?
moved.
Support?
All right, Chair of our Fiscal Committee, Commissioner Jones, you want to tell us about this?
Yeah, Mayor, there were just 2 items on the budget ordinance on this morning. One had to do with a match for the 61st District Court Drug Sobriety Court. The other was a request for a chemist 1 position for the Water Department. There was no change to the contingent balance.
Great, thank you. Commissioners, any questions? All right, this is a roll call vote tonight.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Lanier?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Connor?
Yes.
Commissioner Ruppert?
Yes.
Commissioner Moody?
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Mayor Bliss?
Yes, and can I get a motion to give this immediate effect?
So moved?
Support.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It carries. All right, Commissioners, we don't have any resolutions, so that will quickly take us to our scheduled public hearing. So we have one scheduled public hearing tonight, and that is a public hearing to consider a Brownfield Plan amendment for 16 tax foreclosed properties to contribute to affordable housing outcomes for the city of Grand Rapids. So I am going to start out this, so I should note that notice of this public hearing was given pursuant to state law. And so we're going to start this out with our Director of Economic Development, Carol Kara Wood, giving us some background and information. I'll open it up for my colleagues to ask any questions, and then if you're here to speak on this item, I'll open it up. And then if there are specific questions, I'll ask Kara to stick around and answer those. So Kara, you want to tell us about this?
Sure. Good evening. Tonight's public hearing is regarding 16 properties that were foreclosed for non-payment of taxes. And as a result, the city of Grand Rapids has executed its right of first refusal to acquire these properties with the intent to develop high-quality affordable housing in the city. This would be affordable housing for households earning less than 80% of area median income for home ownership opportunities and less than 60% of area median income for rental opportunities. These homes are eligible for brownfield funding as a result of our relationship with the Kent County Land Bank Authority. And so therefore, we have acquired those properties and transferred them to the Kent County Land Bank Authority under a property transfer and service provision agreement that we've executed and you approved on July 10. So during the period of its ownership, Kent County Land Bank Authority is providing certain services to us, and we will reacquire those properties back from them shortly. This plan amendment covers the eligible activities under the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority to pay for things like lead inspection and risk assessments, lead hazard remediation if necessary, demolition, and costs to clear or quiet title. In addition, asbestos and mold remediation and any public infrastructure improvements could also be eligible under this plan. So essentially, we're requesting the approval of this plan to assist in the redevelopment of these homes for affordable housing within the city.
Great, thanks, Kara. And Kara, maybe can you elaborate a little bit? I know, Commissioners, we've had a number of processes over the last decade when it comes to foreclosed properties. We used to have our own internal process in order to work with our nonprofit partners to identify properties to be redeveloped. Several years ago, we started working with the land bank, and the land bank helped redevelop all of the properties instead of them going to auction. This is really a shift in that, so we're trying something different this year. Kara, can you just elaborate a little bit on what our plan is and the partners that we're going to work with this go-round to help redevelop these properties for affordable housing?
Yes. Traditionally, in the past, we had worked directly with the Kent County Land Bank Authority for the redevelopment of these homes into affordable housing. This year, we are working directly with the nonprofits as we had in the distant past. And so we are working with the nonprofit housing developers who have applied for acquisition of some of these homes for redevelopment. And in addition, the Community Development Department is also working to assist them with providing home dollars to provide that subsidy that's needed to make these affordable homes.
And Kara, I know we talked about this in Economic Development Project Team, but we're also putting in, since this is different, Commissioners, we want to put in some metrics to make sure that we're assessing how this process goes so that we can look at it next year, because we have this list come up every year. Mm-hmm. So.
Yes, there will be two ways in which we do that. One through our office, and then also community development through their home funds.
Great, thank you. Commissioners, any questions? Commissioner Kelly?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, Kara, because we went through 2010 and the foreclosure crisis when there was just a glut of, unfortunately, of many houses that wound up, fortunately, going to the land bank, and we worked through that process, and now things have changed. And for the sake of lessons learned, are we doing an assessment of any sort to kind of look at that passage of time and what happened with those properties?
We
so
are.
that we can learn from, I mean, hopefully we won't have to go through something like that again, and
Yes.
we can learn.
There will be a report provided likely in January, Economic Development Project Team, on that
Great.
period of time. We have noticed that foreclosures are significantly down
Right.
from 2010. So the good news is we're only dealing with a handful of properties at this time, whereas before we had, several hundred. So we're in a better place, but we have to take different approaches when we don't have as many homes to redevelop. Fortunately, our nonprofit housing development partners are equipped to assist us with those.
Right. Well, in case this happens again, we would want to know what we might want to change, if anything. We heard this morning that during our budget presentation that, of course, there's a possibility of another recession. We're hearing this here and there, and we just need to be prepared so that, again, we can take a look at that stock and figure out how we need to work with our nonprofit developers and our for-profit developers. So that would be great. I look forward to that report.
Yeah. Great, thanks. Commissioners, any other questions? All right, thanks, Kara. So if you're here tonight to be heard on this request for Brownfield, now's an opportunity to come forward. Same rules apply. We ask that you share your name and the city that you live in, and we'll give you up to 3 minutes to speak.
Hello.
Hello, welcome.
Thank you. I'm Von Ruff. I used to be a resident of the Hartside community. I now live in the Wyoming area, but I speak for Hartside. So, key things that stuck out to what you said, which the main thing is you said we are in a better place. That must mean you and your fellow colleagues. 16 properties. You said high quality. That stuck out. As soon as you said that, that just stuck to me. I don't even know what you said after that. But affordable housing, as individuals in low income, they really don't care about high quality. They care about housing. They care about a roof. They care about water, electricity. You said that you're gonna have inspections for the lead. I was just told, and it's brought to my attention, that the walls and the paint has more lead in them than Flint does, which is kind of, to me, is kind of like really, really dangerous. I'm just trying to get some understanding for like the people that don't come to these meetings and need housing. How affordable are these houses going to be? Are they going to be, what, $750 or lower? Or are we looking at $950 and higher? Those are key factors for me and, well, I should say we, like you said, we the people. Those are key factors to us. So, yeah, if you could just liberate on those, I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, others who wish to be heard? Yeah, come on up, Mr. Mr. Miller. You don't have to ask for permission. You can come right on up. Well, you could sit right up front. There's lots of seats.
Watchdog back. I've never seen a real handle on, you call KCLB a partner, and it's not even listed on the agenda item. Was it thousands of houses that One Farm Dave controlled, or hundreds of houses? There should be a report here, an annual report. And Mayor, you do sit on that committee, last I heard. And there's just no documentation here whatsoever. I firmly believe that these homes should be put out to bid for auction, and that would do a heck of a good job to bring down the skyrocketing so-called market rent. Alan, last I heard, his office is in the Waters building. I mean, if you're a farmer, how do you get up to the Waters building? Apparently he's got a pretty plush office there, and his reports should be monthly reports right before us. And of all the so-called partners, I mean, KCLB is about the sleaziest. One Farm Dave's job is to bring in farms, and the good year Dave brings in one farm. That was how it all started out. Although it was supposed to be a very noble land bank program to preserve farmland and so on. But somehow he meddled in, and there's no report of what he's been doing. Okay, going back to the last 8 years. How many houses does he actually have? How many has he sold? And this is another process that's just totally out of control. You would admit that you hear more about the housing crisis and skyrocketing so-called market rent. And of anybody in town, I think Dave Allen's to blame for it. How many houses does he have right now? Is it hundreds? He got ticked off when I suggested it was thousands, but there's no reports before us. And I've never seen a report out of this very suspicious KCLBA. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, others wish to be heard?
My name is DeAndre Jones. Not too familiar, kind of just went a little bit blank about the list, but I just wanted to speak on the behalf of housing because I volunteer for the Grand Rapids Housing for All in a dwelling place, and so I did a curb appeal. I've been out there in the community. Actually, I stay with my mama at 967 Tamarack, and my house was raided a couple years ago for a weed charge. Some kid punched a guy and took his cell phone, put his cell phone under my couch, and so I never got caught in the act of selling weed, but I do have a maintaining a drug house and a possession. Put a lot of community work in. I'm not trying to say like I just deserve a house, but I walk past a lot of homeless people, and it really bothers me because I really put my heart out there, and I really put my heart into this community. And so I would just like to see just more equal opportunity. Of course, regardless until I'm old, I'm gonna try to be involved in as much communities and make an impact as much as possible. But I just wanted to say that I am out there in the cold. I walked here. I don't have a car, but I'm always making my way towards any type of positive change that I can do within the community. And I definitely feel him on that because housing is important and water is very important. I'm not saying that the city isn't doing a good job. I just feel like things could be better. I'm not going to say anybody's doing anything bad or anything. I just hope that things just get better. It's more people that's not on the streets and just looking. I don't really want to be explicit, but people just be looking real rough out there and just shivering and shaking and cold. I was at Mel Trotter. I was on WZZM 13 volunteering and speaking why volunteering is important. I wish more people in the community, in the black community and communities all over would volunteer because volunteering is very important and giving back to this community is very important. I don't stress that enough on social media, just period. And that's just something I'm very passionate about because I'll get looked at like just me being African American, how it is. Like people call me a bum. People call me weird because I stay with my mom and I got to do all of this stuff. Like I can't get an apartment. I got to maintain in a drug house. They gonna think I'm gonna try to trap their apartment out or something. But that's just the realities and how it is. And I just want to just speak. Like I'm in the trenches every day, putting in this work, and I just hope that y'all really just try to make things fair because it's black faces, people like me that's actually out here trying to make a difference. And you can look what I said on the TV. Like I've been doing this. I don't do it for recognition or anything. This is who I am. This is who I am internally. So just hope things get better around here. Or I'm gonna keep being around. You're gonna keep seeing my face until somebody take me out of here. But I'm gonna keep doing it. Thank you.
Thank you, DeAndre. All right, others wish to be heard? All right, seeing none, I'm going to go ahead and close that public comment period, and this will be referred back to our committee of the whole. All right, so that will take us to our last opportunity for public comment tonight, and this is public comment, and you can share anything that's on your heart or mind. Same rules apply. We ask that you come forward, that you write your name on that clipboard over there. We'll give you up to 3 minutes to speak, and you just keep an eye right here on the timer. I won't start it till you start. How you doing, Mr. Brand?
Good, thank you. Good evening, Commission. Welcome, Mark Washington, new city manager. I'm excited to have you with us. I've heard positive things about your position and beliefs in law enforcement because we need more. I also would like to thank Commissioner John O'Connor for his steadfast support of law enforcement. I know that the police officers support it. You give them, they believe in it, and thank you greatly, and I do too. I think it's great that we have somebody out there that speaks for the most important job in our city, which is protecting lives. I guess I'm just frustrated. I think I've been up here several times frustrated because no action's taken. I mean, I don't know where the $150,000 study was brought up or why. It doesn't matter, but this isn't needed. I mean, I can give you the information. We need police officers. We're down 100 in that area since 1995. The service areas are larger. The response times are higher. It's just so obvious. The safety of the citizens of Grand Rapids, they're at greater risk, as well as the officers themselves. And the jobs they do, please commend them. My gosh, the things that they do. And being a police supporter, at times it's said, oh, there's something wrong with that. Well, there's nothing wrong with the people that are out protecting your lives every day. Are they perfect? No. But don't just chastise them, demean them. Say positive things in the time of controversy, that we have a great police force, and that needs to be said. There's no support from the commission in that. And it should be, because they protect all of the people. And it's very discouraging, but I just hope that we really make headway. because it's for no other reason than the safety of the citizens. I mean, they're out there stopping drunk drivers, protecting lives. Drugs, they get them off the streets, protecting lives. I've got a granddaughter who just started driver's ed, just got enough she can drive with me, which is scary enough. And I am so thrilled that the police are out there getting the drunk drivers off the streets, getting the speeders off, stop them, give them tickets, things that protect lives with my little granddaughter driving soon on her own. The things they do are, there's too many to name. I mean, they're at the scene of horrific traffic accidents. They see dead people. They see dead children. They see mourning parents hysterical. They see the worst. They endure the worst. I couldn't imagine how it is for them mentally, because it's got to be tough going at home. It's tough going to work when the families are worried about them coming home from work, and the officers themselves are worried that they're not going to come home for their family. Everybody knows I'm a strong proponent for law enforcement, but I think everybody should be. It's not going to get better in this country. We're going to need them more and more and more, and the day will come when all cities understand that, and we have enough officers, and we have they're compensated correctly. They serve and protect. They honor the badge. God bless law enforcement, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Brand. Good to see you. All right, others who wish to be heard?
Hello, once again, I'm Von Ruff, part of the community Heartside. I feel like he works for you guys. Your officers are like totally bad. You guys just put a shotgun to a 12-year-old or a 15-year-old little girl like 2 months ago. That's not serving and protecting. So looks like you guys don't need more officers. You need more training. Like, that's the main thing that you all need. Do the city need more officers? No. The chief should not be in control of your guys' study. Like, what kind of mess is that? How is the chief going to be in control of a study? Like, he's just going to get whatever he wants. Like, I don't understand that. And then I got to the point where a $91,000 to get data on homelessness. Like, why do you need $91,000 to get data on homelessness? You have all these agencies in place already that gets the same data that this $91,000 is going to get. You could just go get these data from Degage, Mill Trotter, whatever other 10 agencies you guys got. Like, I feel like Grand Rapids, Kent County, you guys are heaven. Like, compared to Holland, you guys are heaven. Like, you guys take care of your homeless. Like, I don't understand this. The idea came from like the housing director, Mr. Sanchez, like to get the budget to housing and basically give money to itself. Like, that's like the city giving money to itself. Like, that's not helping no one but the city. Like, this is a game. I love your guys' game, but like, I literally love your game. Like, I love it. So I'm gonna just keep on playing your game until we could like change up some rules, change up some laws. I mean, we gotta get the feds in here. Let's bring them on down, because it's like, it's too much going on here and nothing's getting done. How long are we gonna go through this process of people being homeless, people being cold in the wintertime? Like, it is crazy. Like, this is not protecting, this is not serving, this is not justice, this is not, I don't even think it's legal. But you guys are sitting here and just like, oh, I'm gonna make this law. It's gonna pass. Then we're gonna make this law, and that's gonna pass. Like, where's the law? Like, I feel like the laws are benefiting you all, not the poor. Like, these people are freezing in the cold. It's like freezing. Like, I understand that Heartside Park, your bathroom is closed in the wintertime. For what reason? I have no idea. But I need answers to that. Like, I don't get your guys' community at all. Like, so much stuff is backwards in my eyes. Like, Grand Rapids need a lot of outreach. Like the young man said, volunteer work. Like, I would like to see you guys do more volunteer work. I mean, I've been in Heartside for like 5 months now, and I've never seen you guys volunteer there. Come to Dagger J's, pass out food, cook food, whatever. Like, you guys need to get off these podiums, get out of these offices, and go do some service in your community that you're so-called worried about, because I don't feel like you guys are worried at all. I feel like you guys just make laws to just make these people's lives hell. You're not helping them at all, and they need help. Like, who's going to be their voice? My time's up.
Thank you. All right, others who wish to be heard?
DeAndre Jones here again. I wanted to speak on a matter. A couple days ago, I got a cousin named Imonte Long. He is actually in the he was in my program Jump Ahead that I created, and he was chased down by a police officer, and so he ended up running inside my house. He ended up lying to the police officer and telling him like he stayed there just out of fear, and it was a black officer and it was a white officer that happened to walk into my house. And so I was sitting there on my computer editing a video, and I would just happen to like hear everything, and the police officer ended up, he just ended up walking in my house and stuff like that. I didn't really like that. I actually have the scar on my eye, on my right eyebrow. A police officer actually violated my rights. I knew my rights, and he split my eye open with the door, and I had to bond myself out. And I have a permanent scar, and he got away with that. I don't really like to talk about that, but I just don't like that. It seems like I just wish they would look beyond this surface of this people of color's face. Because like I said, it's people of color like me that's out here in the community, that's out here actually putting their heart in the community, that's shedding tears behind these walls because of all of this stuff that, like, I get tortured. People literally torture my soul, community, the community of Grand Rapids. Like, I'm from Chicago, but I care about this community. I grew up here, but and I'm just saying it in the sense of, like, it's people out here that cares about the community, that wants to help make these changes. Like, I know that I have to be the change that I wanted to be to see the change, and I'm becoming that change. And as I'm just going through these loops, I just want to say that that your officers need to really look beyond the surface of people's faces, because my cousin could have been killed. He didn't know his rights. He's just a young African-American kid that was on a bike with no light, and the police just stopped him, and they just chased him inside my house. So can we really do something about that? Like, what can somebody direct me to the meeting to talk to the police officers? Because I wish I was the chief of police here, to be honest. I would really make some changes. Like, I'm being dead bold. Like, I really want to see change here, because it's nonsense. I see a lot of stuff I really don't like. Like I said, I don't like to speak upon it because I always like to show things in a positive light. But I see a lot of dark things. I see a lot of things, and I just really wish that the city would really talk to the officers, because my cousin could have been dead. Like, he was in my program. Like, I care about these kids. I care about this community. I wish there was more people that really cared. Sorry, but it's just like, I'm 24 years old, and I don't see anybody that's always talking about the community changes actually out here doing it or at these commission meetings. I'm sorry. I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, others who wish to be heard? Hi, you can come on forward.
My name is Rodney Perry. I live at 1906 Rosemont Southeast. My issue tonight is with the assessor's office. I've had quite a few issues with the assessor's office. They misclassified my home for some 24 years as being a rental, and it's never been a rental. I was made aware of that sometime back in 2012 when I made the head assessor, Mr. Ingerson, aware of that. He didn't change it. He just told me to go get a title change, which would have uncapped the tax, which would have justified him taxing me the amount that he was taxing me. So I didn't get the property, I didn't get the title changed. I didn't have to get the title changed. I had to fight for something that is routinely given to someone with the evidence that I presented to them. In any event, I'm still going through, my home is in foreclosure right now. And I've paid somewhere in upwards of $4,000 to $5,000 for the last 20 years, and I should have only been paying $1,800. I sent a letter to Mayor Bliss, your office. You connected me to a Mr. Dews. He sent me an email that says he worked with the individuals over at the assessor's office for many years. He's found them to be work with the utmost of honesty and the utmost integrity. He said, from that point, your complaint is not valid. I consider your case closed. I expected someone to show up and say, I'm going to look at both sides of the evidence, both sides' facts, and make a decision. He has yet to contact me after this email came. I've contacted him several times. He hasn't contacted me back again. As I said, my home is in foreclosure. And as I sent an email to Mr. Dews, I didn't need somebody to be my friend. I didn't need somebody to work with me. I needed somebody to be honest in the office that's willing to look at the facts. Now, the assessor's assistant came out. They finally made a decision on my property, and it was somewhere upwards of $20,000 over assessed for the last 20 years, over 20 years. And yet, if they work with the utmost of honesty and integrity, if you know you've gotten this money illegally or improperly, give it back. But I don't know if they're going to do that because they've already shown themselves to be dishonest. Now, as far as the integrity goes, that's not something, in my opinion, that you see in the daytime. You judge the integrity at night. when nobody's poking or prodding or looking over your shoulder. And so far, like I said, nobody's contacted me. Nobody's willing to pick up the phone and sit down and look at the information that I have, because I have it all on paper. They changed my assessment. They changed my taxable value probably once every 3 months. My house size hasn't changed. They had my basement area at 642 square feet. It's 186. It's just a small room. And I told them that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Perry. Mr. Perry, can you stick around and, after this meeting, connect with our city attorney?
I sure will.
And if you have that documentation, if you can
Okay.
share that with her.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for coming down. All right, others who wish to be heard?
Mayor, members of the committee, Esteban Moreno, I'm a retired GRPD. I'm here with Johnny Brand. Obviously, Johnny Brand is a good friend of mine, and he's also fighting a battle that I think is probably the most important here in the city. As being an officer and retiring from GRPD, you can see I'm still suffering from a lot of the after effects of doing the job. The gentleman wants to talk about being hurt. I've been hurt. I've got 3 surgeries while I worked at GRPD. I've got a torn rotator cuff. So am I asking for a apology from the community or anything like that? No, it's part of the job. It's part of the job that these young men and women want to do. They want to do it because they want to do what's right. And to be held back or to not have the proper personnel to go out there and do the job, it's very dangerous for them. A lot of them are young. A lot of them have young babies, newly married, just bought a house. I can't even imagine what it would be like to have my wife, if she was a police officer, get killed in the line of duty. I have no idea. But I know it would be just traumatic for not only myself, but for my kids. In the early 90s, 94 when I hired on, there were 3,000 applicants that applied for the positions that we had at GRPD. It was a large hiring process. 95, there were 377 police employees. 303 were sworn officers. I don't know why or the holdup is the way it is. There are plenty of people out there that are qualified to do the job. I was just talking to one of the people here about how a lot of the officer applicants are now going to Kent County, the state police, and I attribute it to the benefits. It's retirement, medical. Those are the things that are looking really good coming from the county. If I were to do it all over again, I'd be looking at the same thing. That's what brought me here to GRPD. I had 2 other offers the same day that GRPD called me, and I chose GRPD because they had the best benefits, best retirement, and they had great leadership. Chief Haggerty was awesome chief, and he had acquired a large percentage of the millage. I don't see why that shouldn't be something we could bring up again. A larger millage for the police department, get more people out there. When we were out there, we had enough to have specialty units within patrol to go out and hit high crime areas and deal with it. So again, I speak for the safety of the officers especially. We are a family, and I just want what's best for them. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Moreno. All right, others who wish to be heard? Hi, welcome.
Hi, I'm Dave Overholt, Sidney, Michigan, Montcalm County, born and bred, west side of Grand Rapids, moved away 20-some years ago to be a farmer. I'm here today on Prop 1 again. Every day there's something on the news about the city of Grand Rapids and trying to get their ordinances in play and everything going, and still I see all the residents of Kent County and the other areas still traveling to Lansing, Ann Arbor, Detroit to still get their meds. And I see we're still stumbling over recreational, which is a year or more out. Is it possible that we could get our ordinances in place for this medical and get it on its way? I believe some of us here at the board here, maybe not all of us, but some of us here are at fault why we have recreational and all the mess right now, because if we would have had some recreational free access for our medical people or for our injured and sick people and access for our military people, we wouldn't be in a situation. I don't believe recreational would have even passed the state of Michigan. We wouldn't even be in this mess right now. But because of the west side of the state and the city of Grand Rapids, which is the second largest city, refused to allow its people to have safe access for over 12 years now. And I was one of the first dispensaries in the city of Grand Rapids that was raided and closed and fought all the way through the Supreme Court on this issue, while other cities are still running their dispensaries. And now, from what I understand, until December 13th, the same dispensaries you call illegal here are legal in other towns, which really makes no sense. The people of Grand Rapids spoke loudly on the recreational issue based off of not having free access or safe access for medical cannabis in this city. And now we're faced with a big dilemma. We have to try to put recreational together, and we still don't have anything in play for medical for the people that really need this product. So at the same time, you're conspiring with crime to have more people work the black market. Now we're going to have everybody 21 years or older growing at least 12 plants. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but some good growers can grow up to 6, 7, 8 ounces or more on a plant. And they can continue to grow 12 plants right soon as the other 12 are harvested. So if you're talking about feeding the black market and keeping the marijuana out of the children's hands, which I'm speaking about, putting in places for medical dispensaries would have helped do that a long time ago. So I can kind of condemn the city of Grand Rapids and the officials before here for not putting a medical position into place so that the residents would have safe access. So you're kind of all at fault why recreational's here now. And it's sad because the residents still have to travel so far. And it's got to change. And thank you very much.
Thanks. All right, others wish to be heard?
I'm tired too.
Anyone else who wishes to be heard? Going once? All right, Mr. Miller, come on up. You don't have to ask.
Because of Watchdog Act, you give very poor oversight to the people you appoint to all of these panels. So there's one office in City Hall that is fielding all sorts of all sorts of complaints outside of actually City Hall matters, and nobody works harder right now than the lady I'm going to propose. You've never had a female person city manager, or to my knowledge, a deputy city manager. So without further ado, I propose that Becky Jo Clover be elevated to deputy city manager with no pay hike. She's going to strangle me. No pay hike. That's something for another day. So she has the authority to get all the problems that flood into her office under 311. See some FOI back on Mayor Bliss, very devious request for travel. Just 6 letters, travel to D.C. Turns out it's going to be 6 days, airline fares, expensive airline fares. And this is late January. We get a little snow, 70 inches of snow in Grand Rapids. The mayor should stay home and get our sidewalks plowed. We live in the hilliest city among hilliest snow city, snowiest hill city among mid-major cities, and it's just not has been getting done. Your new city manager from Austin, Texas. I mean, how much snowmobile moving credibility does he have? A very bizarre statistic is that the Rapid has the very best performance, on-time performance during the wintertime, 3 months, because Mayor Bliss is not getting the neighborhood sidewalks plowed. A place I grew up, going back 90 years, the sidewalks were always plowed so that the men could walk to the various stations around town. The city bus system, again, the whole system, except for a couple of routes, Stocking 6 out of East Grand Rapids, marches down Lion Square, the courthouse, county courthouse, where we're kicked out. The rest of the city bus system, blacks, veterans, Catholic, are dropped off at Faggot and Vested Founders. As a gentleman with a ministerial background, and including prominent, I don't know what the formal title is, I'll probably get in trouble trying to be political correct, but the First Lady or Lady of Pastor Dean's church. So, I mean, your credibility is on the line. Get us out. You're dumping hundreds of GRPD students a day in front of the door of Faggot Infested. I see no control of them getting in. Last time I was...
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Thanks. Your time's up. All right, any final comments before I turn to my colleagues? Hi, welcome.
Hi, my name's Karen Black. I'm originally from Granville, Michigan. And I just want to speak about the issue with the Grand Rapids Police Department, how they're understaffed. And this gentleman mentioned he could not imagine what it'd be like to be related to someone who was killed in line of duty. Well, I can relate to that. My brother was a police officer. He was killed in the line of duty. And I feel that if Grand Rapids Police Department, if they don't get more officers, they're going to have more injuries, more line of duty deaths. They don't need that. Past 8 years I've been working for the state of Michigan with the survivors here, law enforcement and family survivors who are killed in line of duty. And I not only know what it feels like personally, but I hear their stories. And it's very sad. It's a ripple effect, and the pain never goes away until the day we will die. And they're out there doing their job the way they were trained, and I just feel that Grand Police Department, they need more officers and they need the support. And I just wish that no other family would have to go through what me and my family went through, and the public needs to appreciate them now while they're here, not at the funeral or after it's too late, because they're not here to hear it.
Thank you, Ms. Black. Very sorry for your loss. All right, anyone else who wishes? Ma'am, are you coming forward? Okay.
Good evening.
Welcome.
My name is Sarah Hampton. I reside at 3931 Kingsway Court. My issue is simple. I have contacted the city several times for removal of a tree. And I've been told that the work is contracted to the foresters and that the tree would be removed. That's been almost 2 years ago. So I don't know the length of time that it takes to remove a tree. But what I do know is when I receive a nuisance complaint from the city, there's an abatement date. If I do not have the items corrected during that abatement date within that time frame, then there are fines imposed on me. So, could you please have someone remove this tree because it is a safety hazard? I don't want it to fall on anyone, and I've contacted the city numerous times, and I do feel that I have been very patient with this. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hampton. Sounds like you have been patient. I see a city staff in the back getting up who will connect with you and get some more information, and we'll make sure we follow up. All right, city manager wants to weigh in. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
Mayor, I just wanted to thank those citizens that have come forward, and we have staff that's at the front of the chamber to assist those citizens that need follow-up, and so Mr. DeLong can follow up with Ms. Hampton.
Great, thank you, thank you. I saw Becky Jo jumping out of her seat as well, but I'll let you two decide who's most appropriate. All right, anyone else who wishes to be heard? All right, seeing none, I'm going to turn to my colleagues up here, and I'll start down here with Commissioner Park.
Yeah, thanks everybody for coming out. I just have 2 shout-outs. The first is to James Hurt and his crew for handling this first snowstorm that we had. I only got one call, which is rare after a big snow. And welcome to Michigan, Mr. Washington. The other thing is, last Tuesday I was able to take in the Policing at the Speed of Trust program. I spent 4 hours, and I just want to give a shout out to Lieutenant Dan Adams. He did an excellent job facilitating that. The 12 officers and about 15 residents who showed up. We had a very vibrant conversation, and it was the start of something good. So I just encourage, I know that there's going to be more opportunities for that. I encourage people to take advantage of that.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Moody?
Sure, yes. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight, and I want to give kudos out to Carl Woods for the economic development team that she's on in terms of what that Brownfield project does. It does a lot in the city of Grand Rapids in terms of helping develop homes and making apartments available on the contracts that we do with other people. So I want to make sure that that economic development department gets some kudos because she puts a lot of work in that. Also, I want to say that we want to be accurate in our facts. The Grand Rapids Police Department did not put a shotgun to a child's head. That is inaccurate. So we want to make sure that that is put forward. We want to make sure that when we come to these podiums that we have our facts together. So I just want to put that out into the community. And the Grand Rapids Police Department does do a good job. Like any job, they make mistakes, and there are times when the citizens have a right to correct them and the mistakes that they make. But I want to be sure that when we come up here that we know what we're talking about.
Thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner Kelly?
Thank you, Mayor, and I just want to thank all of you for coming out tonight and for speaking publicly, and encourage you to watch us on Facebook too, particularly on our morning meetings, and looking those up online, you can read the minutes, because as Commissioner Moody said, a lot of times people don't get all the facts straight. For those of you who aren't aware, we've been working in the arena of community policing for some time, and I would encourage anybody here who's interested in participating in the Speed of Trust work. You can sign up with us. You can talk to us afterwards, or somebody on staff, and be involved in that process where you're matched with an officer. So we're working together, I think, really for the same goals. It's not easy. The path is not easy. People feel very strongly one way or the other. But we are, that's why we employed a group, the 21st Century CP, Community Policing, and got a community volunteers to also work with them in order to discover what is out there in terms of best practice. So that is our goal, and I appreciate both the community's efforts and the police department's efforts in that. And thank you, Chief. I see you here in the audience. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Lanier?
Yeah, I'd like to just thank everyone for coming out, and have a great evening.
Thanks. Commissioner O'Connor? Commissioner Jones?
Yep, same. Just thank for folks for being here, whether you spoke or didn't speak. Appreciate your presence. Thank you.
Thank you. City Clerk? City Attorney? All right, I'm going to end with our City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. Looking forward to the planning conversation that we'll have next week with the commissioners as we talk about our strategic planning priorities, and we'll be sending you information tomorrow in advance of that meeting. Also want to, related to some of the conversations about the police department, I want to thank the chief for finalizing the youth interaction policy. And we should be releasing that, I think, tomorrow sometime, and it has been an improvement. Matter of fact, I think he had a pilot of the policy with his officers today in first training class. I want to thank him for that. And also I want to acknowledge our other public safety department, the fire department, for the recent report of the City of Grand Rapids Fire Department has received the Insurance Services Office ISO highest rating, and we are the only first and only city in the state of Michigan to have a Class 1 rating, and that will be beneficial to residents and businesses, should lower the cost of insurance and make Grand Rapids even more affordable. So I want to commend the fire department.
Thank you. All right, with that, we're adjourned. Everyone drive safe.